This is no secret. The upcoming Microsoft Flight Simulator is shaping out to be an absolute incredible experience. We were able to see much more into the simulator through the developers team Discovery series, 4 episodes that go into 4 different topics: the world, the weather, the aerodynamics, and the cockpits. If you have not seen them, go check out my rundowns. Video links are in this video's description. Basically, a lot of information was shared to us through these episodes. We know the world will be represented realistically, and it is just jaw-dropping the level of quality we are going to be getting straight out of the box. We know the weather is even more mind-blowing, achieving never-seen-before weather simulation. We know that we are now getting an aerodynamic simulation comparable with X-Plane's element blade theory, but with the simulation achieved in the weather, it does seem to be a whole new level of aerodynamics. We also know that the work being done inside the cockpits on the default aircraft are as good as we would expect from price eye-watering top-tier payware aircraft. So all is good in the hood, right? Well, actually, there has been something that people interested in laying their hands on this simulator just can't wrap their heads around. And that includes myself. The fact that the Flight Simulator team has stated that VR support is not considered for the release of the simulator, but may come sometime down the road. And what are these guys thinking? How would you deprive your users from the ultimate immersion system? If something is worthy of VR capability, it most certainly is a flight simulator, and especially in the most modern, next-generation flight simulator. But to understand this decision, we need to step back and see the big picture. Ultimately, the new flight simulator is under Microsoft Xbox division. This means it is under the leadership of Phil Spencer, also known as the Xbox boss. Now you may ask, okay, what does this have to do with anything? Well, when you hear Phil Spencer's recent claim on VR, you will start to understand. So what did he say? I quote, "Nobody's asking for VR." Ouch. He also went out to say, VR market is progressing slowly, with none of the major VR platforms racing up the sales charts. And you may find that odd. If you usually go through some YouTube videos talking about the new flight simulator, or if you go through my videos, you will notice in the comments section, one of the most common questions you will find is, will it be VR capable? Another very common comment would be, no VR, no buy. So what is Phil Spencer talking about? The statement that nobody is asking for VR I find incredibly dismissive. I see people asking for VR every single day. But I do agree with him that the VR market has a slow progression. In my opinion, this is mostly because of the price point of this technology, but also that we don't really have many full-fledged games for VR, if any. But Half-Life Alyx is coming, and this may be the game changer in this department. Regarding simulators, a big portion of these do support VR, but the performance can sometimes leave more to be desired. Now, I'm not trying to imply that all Xbox games, and by Xbox I am talking about the Microsoft division, not the console, should have VR capability. But if one game, or simulator, however you choose to call it, in all of its catalog of games deserves to have VR capability, is without a doubt Microsoft Flight Simulator. VR just works perfectly in a flight simulator. In the simulation, you are strapped into a seat. You can simulate this in your own house just by sitting down in a chair. The interest in the VR experience is basically just to move your head around inside a confined area. There are no crazy mechanics having to be implemented in order for you to move around. VR just works in flight simulators. They are meant to be together. How can Microsoft fail to see this incredible opportunity? How can they claim they are aiming for full immersion and at the same time trying to ignore VR? This is just mind-boggling. But there are good news for you guys. The community has been heard, and the Asobo team, the team primarily responsible for the simulation development, has now stated that VR support has shifted from not being part of the plan all the way to VR support is currently in very high priority. An absolute win for the flight simulation community. We still do not know if VR will be available on release, but we can be sure that VR support has entered overdrive inside the flight simulator's development. So it is no longer an if, but a when. Hopefully, we will get more info on this soon. Diving some more into Asovo and VR, Asovo does have years of experience with VR, and they claim they perfectly understand the difference between a lazy and a good implementation of this technology. They also state they are aiming for the good solution. They have already started with VR development, but they do not want to rush it out of the door. They want to make sure it is done the best way possible. So rest easy, fellow simmers. VR is coming our way, and it does sound like it will be good. I'll be sure to keep you posted on this or anything else juicy regarding the new flight simulator, so be sure to stay up to date by clicking on the subscribe button and activating that bell button. That was it for me for today. Happy flying, cross check out.